So I have a incredible story for you. Couple who waved guns at protesters will appear at Republican National Convention. The St. Louis couple who waved firearms at Black Lives Matter protesters outside their home in June will appear virtually at next week's Republican National Convention to express their support for Donald Trump. A Trump advisor on Monday confirmed the participation of Patricia and Mark McCloskey. The news was first reported by the Washington Post. The McCloskeys, who are white, why did they mention that? Who cares if they're white? The McCloskeys, who are white, have claimed they were protecting themselves from protesters marching on their private street. But they were each charged by a local prosecutor with one felony count of unlawful use of a weapon. Trump has been critical of their treatment and has spoken out in defense of the couple. Okay, so when I first saw this story, right? I saw it via a meme, and the meme was like it was like this trailer. It was like this trailer, and like they were both like holding guns and stuff. It looked like a professional trailer for like some movie. So I thought that was funny, and then I looked through it all, and I was like, oh, so this is what happened. So basically, this turned political. I didn't think it would. I just thought it was satire, but it turned political. They're going to the Republican National Convention, and they're going to talk about their support for our president. So, a few things. It looks like the protesters trespassed, and they went on the McCloskey's property, which it's a big ass mansion. The gate was open, which was their excuse. I don't understand that, but they were marching to the mayor's house to demand her resignation, and on their way, they passed the McCloskey's mansion or whatever, and they went inside the gate, and the McCloskeys came out. According to Mark McCloskey, he is that his name? Let me make sure that's his name. Yeah, Mark McCloskey. He said he was in fear of his life when the protesters came in. He says that they thought that the protesters were going to come in and do whatever it is they thought they were going to do. So they both came out with their guns, and they went in and defended their home and said, "No, you guys aren't coming in. We're going to go down swinging." I find it very interesting that they're going to the national convention now, let alone that they support Donald Trump, because I think the McCloskey said that they supported Black Lives Matter, which is very interesting. Now, they both were charged with the use of an unlawful use of a weapon, which is a Class E felony. So they are looking at about 4 years if convicted, but it looks like they're not going to get convicted due to the Castle Doctrine. Now in Missouri, they have this law called the Castle Doctrine, which says your castle is your home is your castle, and you have a right to defend yourself within your castle by any means necessary, including deadly force. So deadly force can be met if you are on their property. Now, there's a difference between that and stand your ground. Stand your ground is basically you don't have a duty to retreat, and you don't have a duty to retreat. And if you believe that your life was in danger or you feared for your life, you can use deadly force. That's stand your ground. But it all varies state by state. But as far as the Castle Doctrine goes, yeah, people on your property could be met with deadly force. They supposedly had no trespassing signs and private property signs, but honestly, to me, that's kind of irrelevant. I mean, it's pretty obvious that's private property, and if you're going to the mayor's house, why are you going in there? Why are you going to a whole nother property. So, what really, and the Attorney General Eric Schmid, he said that this was a political prosecution. So he's not on board with it either. The governor of Missouri, Mike Parson, said he's going to most likely pardon the McCloskeys if they are in fact convicted. What can we take from this? Patricia McCloskey, what she did as far as having her gun on the trigger, anybody who's pro-gun, anybody who knows anything about guns, knows that that's the stupidest thing you could ever do. I'm pro-gun. I want every single gun control law taken off of the books. I am mad pro-gun. But, other than her pointing, I mean, that was dangerous. That was just dangerous. She shouldn't have done that. She could have hurt somebody or killed somebody. But other than that, they had every single right to defend their home. That's what the Second Amendment is for self-preservation, to be able to defend yourself. Sure, we can use the argument for hunting and sports and whatnot, but the sole purpose of the Second Amendment is for self-preservation and the right to defend your life, liberty, and your property. That's what that is. I'm gonna follow their specific speech and what they're gonna say, because I'm very curious. Because like I said, they said they support Black Lives Matter, but at the same breath they're supporting Donald Trump. So I'm just curious to see what they're going to say about that. What pisses me off, anybody who follows me, they know I'm not anti-cop and I'm not pro-cop. I'm a moderate in the situation. As far as police brutality goes, yeah, that shouldn't be a thing. We have a state police. You have people getting killed. You have people like George Floyd. You have people like Breonna Taylor, who's sleeping in the middle of the night, only to have a no-knock raid and get shot up and killed in her sleep. Now, they actually, which by the way, they actually ended no-knocks in, I think it was St. Louis? Whichever, I think it was Louisville, where I think it was Louisville, where Breonna Taylor was killed. So they ended that. But what we're doing right now, we make ourselves look very, very stupid and very, very incredible when we defend criminals like Rashard Brooks and Latrell Allen. Like, those guys are criminals. I'm not saying you deserve to die if you resist arrest, but when you're shooting at a cop, when you're trying to grab a cop's taser, what are they supposed to do? So, if we're ever going to have any credibility as far as that goes, why don't we actually go after people who are actually being terrorized by the state? Because we have no dog in this fight when we're literally defending criminals, when we're literally defending people who are willing to kill cops just to get away. Like I said, we need massive, massive criminal justice reform. We need body cameras between local and federal law enforcement. We need no more broken window systems where they're allowed to break your window or whatever. More sensitivity training, no more excessive use of force, end the drug war, legalize all drugs, demilitarize the police, and let's do community policing. Let's do de-escalation training. We have too many instances, and we have too many unjust laws on the books right now. And this goes back to what I'm always saying. Check your government. Check your government. Nothing's ever going to change unless you get political. You have to know what's going on. You have to go to your city councils. You have to protest. You have to make them fear you. You have to make the government fear you. You have to bully them. You have to make them feel like shit. Because their policies are destroying our country, guys. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We're in the middle of basically a Great Depression. And they don't give a shit about us. they're going to keep on going, and as long as they can keep feeding their pockets, nothing's going to change. These laws aren't on the books for no reason, okay? They're on the books for a reason, and that's to create revenue for the state and to create revenue for the private prison complex. So, and private prisons, why is that a thing? There shouldn't be such thing as a private prison, because all that does is they have an occupancy quota where you have to have a specific amount of inmates in your prison, otherwise the state fines you. So that gives these private prisons every incentive to keep these prisons full. So, that's the type of criminal justice reform I want. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of cases like Breonna Taylor. I'm sick of cases like George Floyd. Right now the United States government is a state police government. It's tyrannical, and people are really starting to get sick of it. But you lose any argument, and you lose any credibility with me when you loot and when you break the law. It's about the First Amendment. It's about protesting. Once you go beyond that, there is no credibility. So if you really care about criminal justice, if you really care about changing the laws, you need to go at you need to go at cases where people were unlawfully killed. So that's my take on it. I don't think they're going to get convicted. I think the governor is going to pardon them. And we'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see what happens. I wish every American had their right to the Second Amendment, but right now there are a few cities and a few states that really, really just are very anti-2A and make it hard for the law-abiding citizen to carry a firearm. There would be a lot of innocent lives saved if we were able to get more guns in the hands of people on the streets in Chicago that are law-abiding citizens, pay their taxes, go to work every day, and do what they got to do. We would have the right people dying from gun violence and not just this bullshit, oh, well, we just need to put up a gun-free zone. That'll teach them. They won't come in. That makes no sense. That's an emotional and irrational argument. Criminals don't follow the law. And on top of that, the CDC reported that 500,000 to 3 million people are saved by guns annually. And there are other few surveys and studies that have said, the amount, you got 55,000 to over 4.6 million lives saved, estimated to be saved annually with these surveys and these studies, with CDC being probably one of the most credible ones, as well as the U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics from a 2005 survey that said that 2.5 million Americans used their guns to save somebody's life or their life. So, gun control can work. I'm not saying it can't work. We've seen it work, but why would you want it to work? You're taking guns away from the people who can help us, and it decreases crime. It deters crime. That's just a no-brainer. So, and you got the average American, what is it, 13,000 people die annually from gun violence? The lowest estimate is 55. So even if you took the lowest estimate, you're saving more lives with guns 5-6 times over. So, this isn't a debate. I think a lot of the debate comes from majority of the time, not saying all, majority of the time, it's people who have little to no experience with guns. And they're just talking out of their ass and not knowing what they're saying. Which, being around the spectrum, I notice, depending on what ideology you are just massively ignorant on a policy or two. Just because, it's... just by ideology, it kind of makes sense. If you're a progressive, and you're for gun control, all you know is that guns are bad, and that you see it work in some cities. So you're like, yeah, let's do it, or whatever. So that's my take on it. Minus Patricia, minus Patricia McCloskey putting her fucking finger on the trigger, which was the stupidest thing ever. I think they were in the right. You have a Second Amendment for a reason. Don't fucking go in somebody's house, in private property, all willy nilly. Like, why? What was the point of that? And then they broke their gate too. So you're not gonna have any credibility with any of the opposition. You're probably not gonna have any credibility with the opposition at all, because let's face it, guys, this isn't about facts or logic. This is about playing teams, like I mentioned. This is all about playing teams. Even if you are on the right side, people are still just gonna shit on you because they're playing teams. So let's get it together. Let's defend right. Let's be against wrong, no matter which side does it. And let's get it together, okay? You know, the innocent cops shouldn't be dying. Innocent people shouldn't be dying. And anybody who says that they should, then you're just wrong, and it's not okay, man. So let's stop. Let's be moderates on this. Let's stop blindly catering to one side. And let's look at the facts, and let's look at the data, and let's get it together.